Welcome in, Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Hope you're having an awesome start to your day. We are almost to a 3-day weekend here in America's Music City. Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. College football is back. Watched some crappy Florida team last night. Oh, bad college football. Good to see you again. And we're excited. Let's just do this right now, off the bat. It's out. But an official announcement. Kind of teased it on Wednesday when he was here. This has been in the works for a while, and this is a really cool moment for me personally. But to welcome Big Joe Dubin back officially, the Chase and Big Joe show will launch on Tuesday.
Love it, man.
Maybe the worst kept secret. I don't know, but
we've done a pretty good job with it. No, I'm excited. Thank you, Sean Fort, the great GM here, Mr. Walters, Cromwell Media. I mean, I'm so excited to be back. I'm grateful for this opportunity to work with. There's not a lot of people I'd work with, and you're at the top of the list. So excited to do this. We have a lot of fun and a lot of great guests headed down the pike, and we're just going to talk just life, pop culture, sports, entertainment, fun, and things that happen in Nashville and our community. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool because, and like I said, the reason that it's cool for me is when I started here, I was an intern for you.
Right.
And Willie.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. You and Willie did the Sports Revolution, and so now I can say that I've co-hosted shows with Willie. I've co-hosted shows with you. Obviously, Darren McFarland is someone really close to me and a mentor. I've gotten to do shows with him, so you know that's pretty cool to be able to work with all of you guys and. You've taught me to laugh at myself mainly.
Right. That's the main thing. If you could laugh at yourself, that's the main thing to do. And once you accomplish that, it's all easy from that point on.
And I'll say this too, because I kind of put the teaser out there on Twitter, and so people have fun with our ex, and people have fun with that, and they're like, oh, is it this person or that person? And a few people did guess you, which I figured they might, but just stay tuned. We're not done yet.
No.
There's more coming. With 102.5, 106.3 The Game as we go into the fall. I had a checklist of things that I wanted to accomplish, and we're just getting started with that. So
making things happen, Chaser.
Making things happen. We got a big show planned as college football did open, but the NFL right around the corner too. Rondé Barber, Hall of Famer, going to be in studio with us here in just a few minutes. He should be here momentarily. Just went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, obviously. Twin brother to Tiki, but had an awesome NFL career.
He did. I mean, it's one of the best cornerbacks that have ever played the game. I mean, obviously you get to the Hall of Fame that way, Super Bowl winner and everything else that goes on. So well done, Chaser.
Yeah, let's see. When they won that Super Bowl,
2002,
he was. I mean, was that like his rookie year, or was that? I can't remember. No, he had been. I guess he had been there for a while.
Couple years, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he was a key part to that defense.
Oh, it was.
That's one of those when you talk about, okay, you don't have a franchise quarterback and winning a Super Bowl. That's one of those teams. I mean, nothing against Brad Johnson, but Brad Johnson was not a franchise quarterback. That defense won that championship.
And also that game, the funny thing is Rich Gannon was a quarterback for the Raiders.
Was the MVP.
And was go to the line of scrimmage, and he said Tampa Bay players would be calling out the play. Yeah. And he was like, well, because of Gruden, coming from the Raiders to Tampa Bay, I think it was Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach, and they kind of kept all the same terminology. So Rich Gannon said he'd go to the line of scrimmage in that Super Bowl, and John Lynch would be the main one, like, hey, they're going to do this and this. And he's like, how in the world? So you can't, you're going to audible out of something like that, and they knew exactly what he was going to do.
They knew the audible.
Yeah, it was just a severe butt kicking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember that one in, let's see, was it Dexter Jackson?
Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
Was the MVP of that Super Bowl, but you had Warren Sapp, John Lynch, as you mentioned, Rondé Barber. I mean, they were loaded.
You hear the Bucs almost played in that Super Bowl. Well, not almost, but.
Well, I mean, that was the year that the Titans lost to the Raiders in the AFC Championship game, right?
That's exactly right. Out in Oakland. When and I forget his name. His first name was John. He was the free agent. Oh, what's his last name? I just had it yesterday. He fumbled the opening kickoff in the second half.
John Simon?
John Simon, yes. I want to say John Ingram. That's completely wrong.
No, he's trying to stop a racetrack.
He's fumbling something else. Yeah. So no, that was Titans were in that ball game back then, and then so he fumbled opening kickoff, and then the the Raiders won that game, and the Bucs stopped him in the.
Yeah, I mean the Bucs were
The buck stopped there.
The buck stopped there. Oh, you'll hear this every day starting at 9 on 102.5, 106.3 the game. Yeah, I mean they were the better team, I think. I mean, I think the Bucks, because of that defense. And, you think about in like a 2 or 3 year span, you had two teams win a Super Bowl with a stifling defense, with Baltimore and then Tampa.
Absolutely. You look at that. I always like to compare Gruden to Fisher because they're pretty much the same record almost. Well, they're pretty close, except Gruden's got the one thing which Fisher doesn't, and that is the Super Bowl ring. And that's what he got in the 2002 season. That way, Fisher came close in the 99 season. But there's a lot of similarities in that. And once you win that Super Bowl, I mean, you're a Super Bowl winning coach forever.
Yeah, and I think one of the times you were in here over the summer, I told you that for the first time ever, I went back and watched the Super Bowl. It was on
crazy.
It was on NFL Network, and as a 12-year-old, I had all these emotions, and those same emotions came back. Because look, I do this because I'm a fan. Like I get tired of people being like, "Well, you're a journalist. You're not allowed to be a fan. I can be whatever I want."
Right? Who's saying that?
So
whatever you want to be.
Yeah. So I mean, like I'm in this because I'm a fan, and so I remember just all those emotions as a 12-year-old, and then reliving it again, but now that I understand football better, like yelling at the TV, like, why are they calling that play? Why do they keep going back to that?
Yeah, that was
throw the ball.
That was a crazy week because if you don't remember that in Atlanta, I was down there covering the game.
Ice storm
was awful, and I always forget because I have a really good friend. Him and his wife drove that.
I'm glad you have friends.
I don't have many. Drove that Sunday from Bellevue, drove all the way down to the game, and forgot that they left their tickets on their kitchen counter.
Oh, no.
Back home. Can you imagine making that trip to the Super Bowl to see the Titans play down in Atlanta?
What did they do?
They just went to a bar and watched the game.
Well, you don't have that problem now because it's all on your phone, but it's like, I mean, who hasn't done that?
But that's the one thing. I mean,
yeah,
you could
leave the Super Bowl.
You could leave the husband at home and make sure you got the tickets, but they get all the way down there and there's no tickets to be had. And they said, "This is what are you gonna do? Scalping and pay all that?" They didn't want to do that, so just watch the game.
Yeah. So what's funny is the one time that I can remember that, and I didn't forget the tickets. It was my mom actually forgot the tickets, but it was my first NFL game. It was the Oilers and the Vikings, which was the last game ever as the Oilers.
That's right.
At Vanderbilt Stadium.
1998.
It was that loaded Vikings team with Carter and Moss and Randall Cunningham. And
Brian Billick was the offensive coordinator.
Billick was the offensive coordinator. Denny Green was the head coach. I mean, a loaded team. And we got to Vanderbilt, parked and everything, and we're walking to the stadium and realized didn't have the tickets. So I had to go back and get them. We made kickoff. I mean, we were getting there early, but that was my first NFL game, so I do remember that. But
that was a loaded Vikings team. That's the one that should have won the Super Bowl.
And that's because Gary Anderson missed the field goal.
Ugh.
But that was the one. That was like the first time, and Ricky and I were talking about this not too long ago, that I said, that's a team that I saw live in person that I didn't understand or appreciate at the time because I was like 11 years old.
Mm-hmm. That
now that I can sit there and go, oh, I saw Randy Moss play live.
Yeah, right.
Like I saw Chris Carter play live.
At Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
what's crazy about that season and the Titans, the Oilers in '98, they were 8-6 going to those last two games. They were fighting for a playoff spot. They lost to the Packers in Lambeau and the Vikings at Vanderbilt Stadium to finish the season 8-8. But that built the foundation for what happened next year in '99 and 2000, the great seasons they had. Because we'll always say that 2000 Titans team was probably the best football team in this city. We all talk about the '99 team.
2000? Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic team.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, it's funny that I think the Titans and the Predators can say that their best teams are the ones that didn't go to the championship.
What's the Preds' best team?
You can make an argument between 06-07, which was the year that they acquired Peter Forsberg.
Correct.
And Barry Trotz and I were actually talking about this recently. That one, and they got decimated with injuries like Paul Kariya and Steve Sullivan. They all got hurt. Or the year that after they went to the Cup final under Laviolette.
The 18 team?
And won the year that Barry Trotz and the Capitals ended up winning the Cup.
Yeah.
They lost in 7 games to Winnipeg. They'd won the President's Trophy. So I would say one of those 2 teams.
But that 16 team I really like for the Preds. But you could see the foundation being built going forward.
Well, it's just like you like the foundation in 99. Yeah. But like that, that was a team that they hadn't figured out what Derek Mason was yet.
Right.
They were using him as on special teams. He had his breakout year the next year because you got Yancey Thigpen that couldn't stay on the field. And
but the bottom line is every team needs a Harry Zolnarchuk.
Yeah.
I agree. Harry or Henry?
Harry.
Yeah.
Harry Z.
Scored that goal in 17.
Remember, we sat in the sports office at Channel 4.
When they beat the Blue.
It was Blackhawks.
It
was game 2, and they shut them out. And we all looked at each other like, what is happening?
Yeah. Well, it was great, though, because that kind of got a story in the locker room when we came back. I had Preds. My story was Preds players spell Harry Zolnarchuk's last name, and nobody got within close of spelling his last name. Good times, good rides in the city, man.
Oh, for sure. And you've been here your whole career, your whole life, pretty much.
I'm a unicorn.
Yeah, I know. So am I. You lived in Hawaii for a while?
For a little bit growing up, out there.
But you're a McGavick High, went to Sanford, then graduated MTSU.
Yep. Had a good time at Sanford, played football there, and they've asked me to tell people that I never went to school there because I consider myself what's that guy's name, the Bert Kreischer, that comedian who went to Florida State and was just crazy and had a good time. That's what I was at Sanford in my career there. And they were like, hey, just don't mention you went here. We'd appreciate that.
Jimbo Fisher was your quarterback?
Jimbo Fisher sat next to me in astronomy class, and we cheated off the same girl because we had no idea. True story. I'll get on the phone one day. We'll cheated off of her because we had no idea. Because it was a lab. So the lab class, we had been practicing after, we were exhausted, hadn't had dinner. And then so he and I sit next to each other, and we cheated off her and got A's.
Can we make this get out and become a thing, and that way next year at SEC Media Days, he's got to talk about it?
Yeah, we can.
That would actually be really funny.
I haven't talked to him. It's been
would he know you?
Yeah, because we got into a fight on the football field that year. That was 2000. That was 1987. He and I got into it. He had red jerseys, and we're doing a 2-minute drill, and they botched the play, and I ran up, and I was going to sack him. I was playing defense. He threw the ball and hit me in the midsection, and it hurt. It hurt bad, and he was laughing about it. So next play, I just went at him, and then Terry Bowden kicked me out of practice. August of '87. I vividly remember it as it's happening right now.
I was 2 months old.
Were you really?
Yeah.
God, thank you.
Sorry.
I'm getting balls thrown at my midsection by Jimbo Fisher, and then you're learning you're teething. You're not even teething.
I'm not even teething.
You're just up all night long yelping.
Doing something. We're going to have just got an update. Rondé Barber is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, be in studio with us. So really looking forward to having him in studio. Again, excited to announce the Chase and Big Joe show will officially debut on Tuesday. But Big Joe Dubin rejoining the 102.5 The Game family. He's an original host here on 102.5. We'll do like Barry Trotz likes to say. Barry Trotz says he was loaned out by the Predators for 9 years. You were loaned out.
Yeah, and now I'm back.
Yeah, and
happy to be back.
Now you're back. So
grateful. The word of the day is grateful. Not GREATFUL like somebody sent me, but grateful. GRATEFUL. And excited to work with Nick, the producer.
Oh, Frazier does a great job.
Yeah.
So we have to differentiate. There's 2 Nicks behind the glass right now. There's Keyser and Frazier.
Well, I like Frazier. Something with Frazier Crane, something. We'll figure out something along those lines.
Dr. Crane.
Yep.
Hey.
Dr. Crane's good.
Keyser became the reporter, and he didn't like that at first. So I'll tell this story because he's listening. I one day just called him the reporter on the air, and I could tell he didn't like it, so that meant I kept doing it. And you know where I learned that from? Working with you and Pogue for so many years. Like,
just keep going.
Y'all would do something, and I didn't like it, so you'd keep doing it.
Keep pouring salt on the wound, man. Just keep it going that way. But I think Dr. Crane's a good one.
That could work. That could work for sure. It's Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin today. College football is officially back. We can talk about some of the games last night, and I think there's a couple of good ones tonight as we get ready for a full weekend of college football.
Can you check and see if Florida's fired their coach yet?
Well, Stillman was ready to fire him after the first quarter, so I don't know. And maybe
might have something there.
Maybe he might. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Baby metal. Death Clock. The Baby Clock Tour 2023. This Tuesday, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Baby Metal, Death Clock, one night together live with special guest Jason Richardson. On sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is offering a 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, the perfect offer for crazy plays, like the famous butt fumble. It's the GOAT of embarrassing plays.
Really, remember when you bet me you could do a live show with a GOAT as your co-host, and he face-kicked you?
Thankfully, I didn't take the under on that one.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect today. The industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets. BetUS.com, where the game begins.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
I was crossing the street when I met the love of my life. I chased after her. Nothing would stand in my way. Not the dog walker, nor the hot dog vendor. Finally reaching her, I asked, "What do you call that amazing smell?"
It's Gain Flings.
Gain Flings. My love had a name, but more importantly, it had a scent.
Fall in love with Gain Flings. Seriously good scent. Gain Flings with 50% more freshness ingredients versus leading bargain detergent.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Chase McCabe.
Good to meet you. You know why it's good to meet me? Because I'm smart and I'm right.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Clean snap, good hole, got it up, and it's good! And Minnesota comes back to win it, 13-10.
That was Gus Johnson on Fox last night with the call. College football, the drama officially back. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin, Chase and Big Joe show debuts officially Tuesday at 9 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. A wild ending last night, JoJo. between Minnesota and Nebraska. That was, to me, the best game of the night. Florida, not very good against Utah. I don't know how good Utah is, but I think I know how bad Florida is.
But let's talk about the environment last night at Utah.
It was awesome.
That was fantastic last night.
Did you know that was the first time an SEC school had played there?
I did not know that.
They said that on the broadcast, and I was like, that can't be right.
Wow.
But it was.
I know Utah smacked Alabama in the Sugar Bowl 10, 12 years ago, whatever that was.
And wow. Kyle Whittingham, I mean, he was part of a trivia question the other day.
He was.
What he's done, since taking over for Urban Meyer has been there. They had him mic'd up on the field before the game, and he was joking around like with the other coaches, and he's got like 8 grandkids or 9, and he goes
9 and 10 on the way.
9 and 10 on the way, and he goes over under set at 12.5 if you want action.
Nice.
So, So I mean, that was cool, and then. But the game of the night was Nebraska-Minnesota because Nebraska, it was a low-scoring game. I felt like the under was definitely the play there. It was a low-scoring game. Nebraska had the lead for a good chunk of it. Minnesota battles back at the end with an amazing catch in the end zone, toe tap, one toe, dragging it.
It was an unbelievable catch.
I mean, they had to review it for 10 minutes, it felt like, just to make sure. But he got the toe down, and – They tie the game. Nebraska's got plenty of time to march downfield and kick a field goal, and they throw an interception. I mean, and that's the part of football and like being the fan of football where you go like, man, you just make those kind of mistakes. But then they kept showing him on the quarterback on the sideline. You just felt for him. I mean, the look on his face was just like, what did I do?
What is that? That is the somebody told the record last night. Nebraska's like 2-20 over in one possession games over the last couple of years. I mean, it's a crazy stat where if they flip that, Scott Frost is still in Nebraska and they're rolling. But that's just, man, it reminds me of Vanderbilt all through the years where they get there, but they can't finish the football game, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But Nebraska, that's just a crazy stat.
Oh, I know. And I think Matt Rule's going to do a good job there. I think he's a good college coach. He was a bad NFL coach, but I think he's a good college coach.
He got paid well.
Sure he did, and that's why he took it.
Carolina.
Right. I mean, because Tepper has money just, in a sock drawer somewhere that he could have taken care of that.
Right.
But I think that he's a good college coach. I think Scott Frost is a good college coach too. It's just going to your alma mater and all the pressure that comes with that. It didn't work.
Well, think about that. If Scott Frost stays where he was, Josh Heupel's not in Knoxville.
Yeah, true.
Not in Knoxville.
22. And I don't 5-22, by the way.
5-22.
Yes.
Dr. Crane, thank you.
Last time they won was in 2020 versus Rutgers, 28-21. Scott Frost was the head coach.
Wow. 5-22 in one possession games. That's crazy. And last night was another one like that. But yeah, if Frost doesn't leave for Nebraska, Heupel's still offensive coordinator there. He might have gotten a job someplace else, maybe a group of 5 team, but he's not in Knoxville right now. And it's funny, I listened to Robbie and Rex Road and Joe's story about that's inflamed, air quotes, Vol fans about, temper expectations just a tad bit if they do go 9-3 or 8-4, or, they don't go 12-0 and win the SEC East and all that stuff like that. It's just, I love this time of year because expectations and what could happen, what's going on, and people kind of get really upset and fired up, and it's fun.
Do you think, looking back on this now, that Nebraska made a mistake leaving the Big 12 and joining the Big 10?
Sure.
I kind of feel like they did, because I feel like them being in the Big 10, because of the powerhouses in the Big Ten, they could have been one of the big fish in a smaller pond, and then they joined the Big Ten.
Well, some of the iconic games from Nebraska, Oklahoma, and so that was taken away from us.
Right.
Like Texas and Texas A&M, I know they'll reunite in the SEC, but it's not the same. But yeah, absolutely it was. The old Big 8, because if you win that, you didn't get to go to the Orange Bowl. It was always Nebraska, and Oklahoma. Who was Iowa State, Missouri. Who else was in that league? I can't even remember now. It's been so long. Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, Iowa State.
A&M?
No, they were in the Southwest Conference with Texas.
I can't remember.
Oklahoma State? I don't.
Wasn't Peyton's last game at UT against Nebraska?
It was. Kyle Vanden Bosch and Grant Wistrom pounded him in that game.
Yeah.
Pounded him in the Orange Bowl back in '97. I turned into a little Christmas sorrow there. Back in '97, that was the Orange Bowl down there, and I was over at South Carolina at the time, and I ended up being the athletic director over at Middle Tennessee State, and then I hired Rick Stockstill back in 2005.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Text on the text. Now, we have a text line now. We didn't have that the last time you were here. It's pretty cool. It's nice. 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Chad from Chattanooga says, as a disgruntled Florida fan, would you entertain some possible coaching candidates for entertainment purposes if we were to make a change?
Oh, my goodness.
Already ready to write off Billy Napier.
They didn't look Florida to me last night looked scared.
Yeah, they didn't look like Florida.
They did not, and they looked like we're going to make a mistake, and how are we going to do this? And that's how they played last night. And I mean, it was 24-11. Look at it's not kind of close game. No, it was 17-3, and Utah was dominant.
I never felt like watching the first two possessions for Florida. I was like, I don't know why I wasted my money on taking them +5.
Right.
Like this was, just take it. Just burn it at that point.
It was terrible.
Yeah, because, you just kind of knew. And the way that they were playing looked like that they listened to everybody that has been saying, oh, they're not going to be very good this year.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
And so they believed it.
But I think it bodes bad for Tennessee. I really do, because I think now they're like, all right, we lost to Utah. We got a game next week. Tennessee's coming in 2 weeks. We're not losing this game. That's down in the swamp.
That's a good point.
So if you're a Tennessee fan, don't look at that game last night and think, oh, we're going to run right over them.
That's a trap game if I've ever heard one.
Might have been Big Orange Mac on Twitter. Was like, I ain't going to believe we're back until we go down to Gainesville
100%.
and punish them. I was like, yeah, finally a good.
Because when was the last time they won in Gainesville?
Was it 2003? No.
I need to look.
With
but
Casey Clausen?
That could be right, but it has been a long time.
21, they didn't do it. Heupel's first year. Pruitt didn't do it in 19. 17, Butch Jones had that Hail Mary to the game when they lost.
Was that against McElwain?
Yes.
Jim McElwain
15, no, that was Butch's second time down there. 13, Butch started 9 quarterbacks in that game. Nathan Peterman, I think, was on that team. 11 was Dooley down there. Didn't
2003.
Yep.
You're right. 24-10 was the final. Both teams were ranked, too.
And the 2001, they beat him down there. That's when Spurrier said, I'm done. You guys take care.
34-32 was a close game.
Because that was played late in December because of 9/11 had moved everything.
Sure was. Well, it was December 1st when it was played. Yep. Yeah, and then but like that's 2 instances where Tennessee's won at Gainesville, and I'm going back and back and back and back and back. Before that, so in the 2000s, 2001, 2003, they won in Gainesville. Before that, it was 1971.
Wow. Yeah, because Peyton didn't do that in 95 and 97.
Peyton never beat Florida.
Nope. And if you go back and look at that 95 game when Joey Kent's coming across the middle, taking a little just a pass, a little route across the middle, and the guy from Florida just lays him out. And that's another thing. Let's talk about it real quick before Ronde Barber gets here. Just because last night the guy intercepts a pass from Missouri. I was watching a Missouri game. He's running down the sidelines, and he sidesteps somebody, and a lineman just decleats this Missouri guy. Just decleats him. Clean hit, right? And the announcer on the game was like, that's a targeting. And I tweeted out, and I got a lot of reaction of that. Every decleater's not targeting.
Right.
Let's stop
Sometimes
that.
there's a clean hit.
And it was a very clean. The head was above the body and all that on the front of the guy that he hit. It was a clean hit. He just knocked him into Nebraska. I mean, he laid this dude out last night. So let's stop with the targeting. I mean, let's just stop with the announcers doing that. If it's targeting, they'll call it on the field. But I just hate that. We need to get away from that.
We should ask Ronde Barber about that. About, just in his career, starting in 97, ending in 2012, just kind of the evolution of that, because there were guys that were big hitters and they were clean big hitters. But now we think everything is like, oh, he's getting suspended for that. Like you see it in football, hockey, whatever.
Yeah, all that stuff. And I get some of that stuff
and some of it, yeah. But I mean, if it's a clean hit, it's a clean hit.
I think we've come away from all that being like, that's targeting. I think we've kind of calmed down a little bit, but I don't like the announcers like, that's targeting. They're going to take a timeout for targeting. And then they didn't, and they didn't come back and say anything about it. They just moved on with what was happening.
I lean with you there, Joe, but looking back at the play, I could see why the announcer said it. Because in the rule book, it says when a player launches their body and leaves their feet. Now, he did a little bit, but you got to give it a little bit of credit there. He is a lineman.
He was like 6'1", 390.
Exactly.
I mean, he was out of breath. He was probably just falling over.
Yeah.
But you take that shot every day of the week.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I don't think it was targeting, but I could see where the case would be if that was the case.
But just my thing was just hopping it quickly. Targeting, just so quick on that. But good point there, Dr. Crane.
Very good, Dr. Crane. Dr. Fraser Crane on the ones and twos. Rondé Barber going to join us next. He's in town doing some stuff with Superbook. We'll tell you more about that here on Chase McCabe. Chasing Big Joe starts on Tuesday officially, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around.
They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3?
You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
All right, let's talk about Superbook Sports. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with a local book, my official sports book, Superbook Sports. Superbook is the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers you'll find out of Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and you use the promo code CHASE. My name, CHASE. It is that simple. Bet with the best and use that promo code CHASE this football season with Superbook Sports, and they have it all on the Superbook Sports app. They even got a lineup for Tennessee and New Orleans next week. Tennessee, a 3-point dog on the road, getting even money on that right now. Tennessee and Virginia tomorrow in Nashville. Tennessee, a 28-point favorite. You can get it all on the Superbook Sports app. Use the promo code CHASE. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
.312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
A tribute to Ronnie Millsap. The final Nashville show, October 3rd at Bridgestone Arena. A tribute to Ronnie Millsap, featuring performances by Kelly Clarkson, Little Big Town, Parker McCullum, Scotty McCreery, Justin Moore, Tracy Lawrence, and more than 30 guest artists. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. A tribute to Ronnie Millsap, the final Nashville show. One night only, October 3rd, Bridgestone Arena. Produced by Outback Presents.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, fun in the sun goes way beyond the white sand beaches. Let's rock out at a waterfront concert at the Sound. Let's marvel at masterpieces of the Chihuly Collection and make some flippered friends at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Let's pedal the 75-mile Pinellas Trail and stop at Florida's oldest microbrewery along the way. This fall, let's go for all the sun and none of the crowds. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpclearwater.com.
Hello, whoever it is going to be.
You want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about on today's show? Hit us up on our phone and text line at 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Big Joe Dubin alongside Chase and Big Joe Show debuts Tuesday, Hey, check out our college football game of the week. It's finally back, JoJo. You can tune into 102.5 and 106.3 The Game tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Yeah, I pulled this off. Tennessee taking on Virginia. Presented by Twin Peaks. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest non-conference games around the country. Appreciate the Virginia Radio Network for allowing us to carry this game. John Freeman, of course, called the very first goal in Nashville SC history.
God,
he sure did. He'll be on the call tomorrow as Virginia takes on Tennessee.
Wait, how long has he been in Virginia?
I think this is his second season.
Did he do basketball?
Yep.
So he didn't do the national championship game in 19?
No.
Okay.
No, he just missed it. So, but excited to have him there. Or have him on the call.
Well, yeah.
So, trying to get Rondé Barber here. So, I think they're navigating
in the Nashville traffic. Good luck.
Yes.
We should have him here by Tuesday when we debut the show. Because Nashville traffic is, I think people underestimate. Oh, it's just Nashville, and they get here for the first time and realize that, oh, it hasn't changed since 1985, the interstate system around town. And you're like, no, it probably since 1975. I tell people, the great movie Nashville that came out in 75, there's an iconic scene where there's a traffic jam off Shelby Street where Nissan Stadium is, before it was, and it's still 3 lanes. And that was 1975 when that movie came out, nearly 50 years ago. So I'm going to need you, Chase, before we start next Tuesday, you and Dr. Crane, to work on some sort of quick transit plan around town for us. It won't cost.
Kind of feel like we've missed the boat on that.
We might need a boat like that. I mean, I guess with all that, I mean, do you build like in Chicago, like the L above like a train system above the interstate? I mean, how do you do that? I don't know. I mean, nobody has an idea how this is going to happen.
Call up Marty McFly.
True.
That would be good.
I mean, I think back in the day, in the 70s and 80s, they all thought we'd have flying cars by now. Might as well go call up Marty McFly.
Let's do drones, man. Just fly it around the city that way and get it done. Where are they stuck? Are they stuck somewhere, Chase?
I think GPS has fooled us all again.
Oh,
I don't know.
yes.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to help him out.
Yeah, my son, and I get mad at my son, who, God, I love him more than life itself. But he's like, hey, I'm going like 5 miles away. I'll just put it in Waze. I'm like, buddy, we drive by there all the time. You don't need to put everything into a GPS to drive around. Because, believe it or not, back in the day, we used to have gigantic maps that we'd pull out. If you'd go from Nashville to Panama City in the mid-'80s, you'd have to pull out this giant map to make sure when you got down to outside of Montgomery that you didn't end up in Atlanta, that you took the right way to go down. These maps, and you pull and you road signs. Now, Dr. Crane, you don't need those.
No, and it's kind of crazy. I talked to a few friends of mine. Hey, where do you live at? Oh, I live at so-and-so. I'm like, what is that off what street, bud? Just let me know. Just what street, and I'll be there.
Well, it's turned into for at least my generation. It used to be, you turn at the general store. Now it's find the Walmart and take a left, or find the Walmart and take a right. That's where things have progressed now.
Landmarks.
Yeah, because you would say Dollar General, but there's 77 on every corner, and you can't kind of figure out where Dollar Generals are.
Yeah, so they're en route. We'll have them shortly. Really looking forward to that conversation with Rondé Barber, the Hall of Famer, who's going to be in town this weekend. We'll tell you why he is in town for that. But tonight, got a couple of interesting college football games going on. The one that really stands out to me, being played in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Louisville and Georgia Tech. I'm very curious of what Jeff Brom is going to do since he has taken over at Louisville. Obviously, similar situation what Scott Frost went through. Alma mater, was a quarterback there. I mean, that, if you ask anyone, that's probably his dream job, and now he has it. And we, got to know Jeff Brom very well when he was at Western Kentucky. Some media outlets had him getting the Tennessee job, even though I don't know if he was ever offered.
Oh, my Lord.
But
it's a done deal.
It's a done deal, but now he's at Louisville.
Who went on ESPN and said that? Was it Himes? I think it was.
It might have been.
Went and said, the Jeff Brom, expect announcement any minute now.
Well, I mean, that whole thing was just such a,
being in the middle of all that. I mean, it was just from friends on the coaching staff who just got fired to Schiano coming in and knowing that this is not going to happen until was it John Curry, the athletic director, who's now at Wake Forest.
Yep. He was on the job for 9 months.
Yep.
Gets fired in the coaching search because he couldn't figure this out, apparently. And who comes to the rescue? Coach Fulmer.
Coach Fulmer, yeah. Who did that guy call in and say Fulmer hired Vitello, right? Was that his athletic director, Frost and Vitello? Or did –
Yeah, no. But,
who did Dave Hart hire? When we got confused, like – because it was Dave Hart, then John Curry.
Vitello was – I think John Curry hired Vitello.
Who did Dave Hart hire? Maybe Dave Hart hired Vitello.
Yeah, maybe he did. I can't keep up with it. They
It
went
just
through
got
so
crazy.
many.
Yeah.
Because they had Hamilton, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then
Dave Hart.
Then Dave Hart, and then John Curry, or was there
Then John Curry. And then
I thought there was somebody in the middle there.
Could be. And then Fulmer took over, and then Fulmer.
That went well.
Fulmer hired Pruitt.
Curry
but Fulmer gets
hired-
credit for somebody.
Curry hired Vitello.
So Curry's only hire was Vitello.
Yes, from what I see online. Yes.
So Fulmer hired the women's basketball coach. Who hired Rick Barnes?
That would have been
Dave Hart. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of nice little things you've done there. And now Danny White hires Josh Heupel, but for their time together in Central Florida.
Yeah. And then Fulmer hired Kelly Harper.
That's right. Okay. Who's great.
Kelly Jolly.
Okay.
That played there. But yeah.
So they all got one. Four athletic directors have got one in there. That's not bad, I guess. I mean, do all that. But that was something that, December of 2017 when all that went down with Schiano and just getting the intel I had on the inside, knew this was never going to happen, and all that went on.
That was wild. I remember doing
that. Sunday was nuts.
I was filling in on the morning show, like when that all happened, and was working with Braden Gall, and who was, connected in college football. And I just remember looking at him going like, have you ever seen anything like this? And he's no. And the stuff he was hearing, like it was a lot of the stuff you were hearing, I'm sure, of just how bizarre it all was. And that, Fulmer was essentially just, lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce.
It was.
And he did.
There was. And it was just, it was the Mike Leach that Curry went to the West Coast and met Mike Leach at some restaurant.
And Mike Leach went on Nashville radio and basically said, like, yeah, I would have taken it. I was ready to go. I was ready to come to Knoxville.
Get out of Washington State.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that would have been a great hire.
Yeah, that would have been. Saw what he did at Mississippi State. Beloved. Just beloved down there. Just an awful loss for college football. But that was just, you move on and then you do the stuff with Pruitt, and now you're on good ground with Heupel and things are going well. And
we like the what if game.
We love the what if game.
Like, what if?
Oh, that's a good one. We got to bring that back.
What if Schiano, or what if Mike Leach? What if Jeff? Jeff Brom. When they were going through that whole thing and Brom's name was there, that's the guy I wanted. I just didn't think
he'd only been at Purdue 1 year.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd leave Purdue after 1 year.
Yeah,
but that was who I was like. If I'm a Tennessee fan, I would want Jeff Brom.
Yeah, and he's a good coach, and tonight was what they do because it's his first
I think he's
year.
going to do good things at Louisville. It may not happen in the first year, but no, I think he's going to turn that program back around because Satterfield was awful.
Well, Satterfield takes the field tomorrow night against my buddy. So
against Walt?
Yeah.
Where did he end up at?
Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. That's
well, Satterfield was great at Appalachian State and went to Louisville. He just didn't fit into Louisville, so now he's in Cincinnati.
That's right.
Because Fickle went to Wisconsin. It's a carousel, man.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a carousel.
It always will be.
That happens there.
Saw a really cool story on a Titans receiver that I don't know if Joe has seen this yet. Share that next. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin today. Chase and Big Joe show debuts on Tuesday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are ready for year 3 under head coach Clark Lee.
As we stand now in front of a clean sheet. Our goal is postseason play.
And we are your home for all of the action.
Touchdown, Vandy. The doors on the board. Vandy, 24-21, your final.
Vanderbilt football lives on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Family Leisure's 30th annual Labor Day sale.
End of summer clearance items like pools and rafts and pool toys to our new indoor products like massage chairs and theater seating.
Save up to 40% off on all new patio furniture. Save up to 70% on display model and discontinued items.
Family Leisure has truckloads of spas arriving daily. There are even some scratch and dent spas on sale and ready for immediate delivery.
Home theater seating, 3-piece sets start at only $9.99. That's Family Leisure's Labor Day sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Now through Labor Day, get incredible deals at Electronic Express. Get a 70-inch LG 4K Smart TV only $599, or a Maytag laundry pair only $449 each. Electronic Express has huge savings on 4K TVs, appliances, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an HP Ryzen laptop just $399, or Sony Bluetooth speakers for only $16. Plus, get up to 60 months special financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
Tenacious D and the Spicy Meatball Tour. Rightfully hailed as the greatest band on earth, Tenacious D are coming to you live this Thursday, First Bank Amphitheater, Franklin, Tennessee. On sale now at livenation.com, part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series. Buy tickets at livenation.com. Don't miss Tenacious D live in all their glory.
The Sam Pugh Memorial Race at Duck River Raceway Park, Sunday, September 3rd with super late models in action. Duck River Raceway Park is just 10 minutes from Henry Horton State Park and less than an hour from Nashville. Come to Duck River Raceway Park for the Sam Pugh Memorial Race on Sunday, September 3rd. Grandstands open at 4 and drivers meeting at 5. Come enjoy good food, good people, and great racing at this family-friendly event Sunday, September 3rd. Get your tickets at the gate and learn more at duckriverracewaypark.com or on their Facebook page.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Chase McCabe is on.
I am not that guy you think I was.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Coming up on Tuesday, the Chase and Big Joe Show officially debuts. Announcing that this morning. Excited to welcome Big Joe Dubin back to the Cromwell Media 102.5 The Game family. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos.
Dr. Crane.
I don't know how he feels about this yet. I can't get a good read on it.
I'm good with it.
Yeah?
Dr. Crane's might be the most vital part of this radio show.
We'll have to get the Frasier theme music.
Yeah.
Are they? By the way, did I read that they're rebooting Frasier?
They are.
Yes, they are.
They are. But I don't know what the plan, because of the writer's strike now, everything's been put on a massive hold.
I mean, there in some ways when they do some of these reboots or reunions or whatever, I get excited about it,
okay,
because it's like, okay, there's some nostalgia, and like they did but it's also at the same time like a show like Frasier was so great and they ended it so well that it's like maybe just let it be, maybe we don't need it again.
But they can't, because there's no new ideas.
Well,
you watch some of these comedies lately; they're awful. I mean, they're just really, really bad. So you reboot something that people love. The Will and Grace reboot was,
I liked it.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Friends was meh, but
Friends was more just a reunion special.
Yeah, but it's still. But I don't mind. I mean, if you come back and get some good writers and all that, I'd love to see a a Cheers reunion. That'd be so, man. The Office already said they won't do a reboot.
They don't need to. And like Seinfeld did somewhat of a reunion on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which that was funny.
That was.
Like because Larry David fires Jason Alexander and plays George.
Great show. I mean, that's a great episode. But, Seinfeld had said, when they left after 98, that NBC offered him $100. He was on the Howard Stern show and said NBC offered him $100 million to come back. He said, it's not about money. We're done. We are.
Because the show, the way it ended was so perfect.
It plateaued and he just walked out of there, leaving you more. And that's what
I think that, the last season of Seinfeld's one of my favorites.
Yep.
I mean, it's got some great episodes in it, but the last episode is the one where you just go, wait, what? This is how it's going to end?
It was just, and I love it because it just agitates people. Like when Sopranos ended,
right?
It agitates people to no end. And I was like, good.
I feel like there are two ways to perfectly execute a series finale, like Seinfeld or The Sopranos, where it's kind of like it leaves you wanting more. It leaves it open that maybe one day,
right?
You could get answers to that, but you probably won't. Or it can be like MASH, where it's just like,
MASH. That's a
like the
tearjerker.
series finale of MASH is
one
of the best.
When he flies off the helicopter and leaves that message for him. I mean, that's just that thing of being can bring a tear to a glass eye. I mean, that's just one of those things. But also, when the people. This is old school. Like when McLean Stevenson left MASH to go on the greener pastures, didn't happen. And when Radar comes into the operating room and says that the plane, his plane crashed in the Sea of Japan, and just that moment, that was just gripping television.
Yeah.
And we very rarely get that anymore.
So my dad was a big fan of MASH. And so therefore I watched MASH and even, as I got older, I went and watched like the whole series essentially. And so when I would watch older TV shows, I'd like to look up and read things about them. And so I read that in that episode, because and help me, I'm blanking on Alan Alda.
Yep.
So Alan Alda wrote the episode or was a part of the writing team for the episode. They didn't tell anyone what the outcome was going to be.
Wow.
And they told Radar literally minutes before he read the line to get the raw reaction.
Powerful. That's powerful. I don't doubt that at all. That's power. Just when he comes there and says that to them, I always laugh about MASH. It's the 8-year TV show about a 3-year war.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's good TV.
It is. And you even went through kind of a major character change and cast change, and it still worked.
It did. Harry Morgan came in and took over, and that's that last episode. We could talk a whole segment of last episodes of TV shows. I'm a huge Miami Vice fan, huge. And that last episode when Crockett and Tubbs ride off, I'm a puddle.
Yeah,
I'm
and see, that's another one. They did the movie, and the movie was terrible.
The movie was awful. Awful.
If you're gonna do it, then bring in Don Johnson.
Yep. In the Breaking Bad, to me, that was I didn't want him to die. I don't care if it's 10 years now. You've had plenty of time to see.
Right. If you've never seen it.
Right. Too bad. I didn't want him to die. I don't know. I felt bad that he died on the floor there. We think he died. I mean, pretty much. But I just didn't want him. You get into that character so much, but those last 3-4 episodes of Breaking Bad were just simply fantastic.
Wes and Hermitage, I can't get myself to watch the Friends reunion. Is it worth it? I mean, yeah, because they tell stories that you never heard before, like Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer, Ross and Rachel talked about that they actually had a crush on each other, like when they started the show, but they never did anything about it because they were both in relationships.
Okay.
And so that was something that had never.
God,
sorry, I just spoiled that. But
she's beautiful. Just watch the reunion just to see her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
just to do that.
First crush. She was my first crush.
Really?
Yep. First
Nice.
Celebrity crush.
Dr. Frazier, you got a celebrity crush? I'll give you mine while you can collect your thought. Donna Mills on Knots Landing, who just turned 83, by the way.
Shakira?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
Shakira.
a good one.
Yeah, I will never forget the day, July 9th, 2006.
Do we need to know this?
I'm just saying. Italy was in the World Cup. It was a phenomenal day. I mean,
it was a sunny day.
It was a sunny day. It was the middle of the day. It was with my grandparents. We were watching the World Cup, Italy versus France. 1-1 draw, one in penalty kicks. Halftime show. Shakira and Wyclef Jean. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Berlin, Germany. That was awesome.
I can't. That's pretty detailed there. Dr. Crane.
It's funny.
Chicken parm and pasta for lunch.
We bring up TV shows and the text line blows up. Wes also says we got to do a MASH reboot. Here's what I'll say to that. I don't like how.
They've all passed. Most of them have passed away.
Right, but I mean, like even if you did a new cast and like did a new show, like are you going to do that in Iraq?
True, and that's why the reboot of Magnum was. I almost paid out of my own pocket to go over there and stop production. It was terrible.
So here again. Here's my thing on that. Like they did a reboot of Magnum, they did a reboot of MacGyver, and like those shows are like if you're just watching it as a television show
and Quantum Leap.
If you're just watching them as television shows and don't know anything of the past shows, like they're not terrible.
Right.
But the fact that they're making it Magnum PI or MacGyver or Quantum Leap, it's like
it just shows
just call it something different and steal the idea. But I mean, I that's where I
totally agree with you. And that's the thing is that you run out of ideas. And
Hawaii 5-0 was another one. I liked Hawaii 5-0.
That was not bad. I'm a big fan of the original Hawaii 5-0 with Jack Lord because it's one of the greatest openings of all time. And I didn't mind that one, but most of the other ones, man, they're just not good at all. And so, but that's why, when a good TV show comes along, like to me, my favorite, Breaking Bad was good, but if you ever saw The Americans was a fantastic, and it ended fantastically. I mean, it ended fantastically of those, oh my goodness, what just happened? Amazing moment. If you haven't seen The Americans, see it, especially if you're in your 50s, because it starts in 81 and ends in 88. Right in our wheelhouse.
Texter wants to know, did they ever get off Gilligan's Island? I think they did.
Yes. Did not.
You saved them, right?
Harlem Globetrotters got them off, didn't they?
Is that what
they took them off? It's just can you imagine pitching that show and it went? It was just iconic. Brady Bunch. I mean, all these shows.
Mo got him off the island. Remember that Simpsons episode where the narrator's like, the kids were rescued by, let's say, Mo.
That's right. God, that's way back on that one.
Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin. We will get more into the Titans in the NFL in hour number 2. Chase and Big Joe show officially debuts on Tuesday here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say
1025 and 1063 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier, and this Game Center update is brought to you by BetUS Sportbook and Casino, celebrating 30 years with a special offer, up to 30 risk-free bets, and the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get started at BetUS.com.
College football is back. Last night, Utah beat Florida 24-11, and out of the Big Ten, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, came back and beat Nebraska at home with a game-winning field goal.
Clean snap, good hole, got it up, and it's good! And Minnesota comes back to win it, 13-10.
Tune in tonight as the Nashville Sounds take the diamond again to face off against the Durham Bulls, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Boss Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 1063.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Nashville. The suit is in the building. Acknowledge me. Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 1025, 1063 The Game. Big Joe Dubin alongside Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier with us on the ones and twos. The Chase and Big Joe show we announced earlier today. Appreciate Mike Organ from the Tennessean for putting it out as well. Big Joe returning home to 1025, 1063 The Game.
You can come home again.
You can. That's what they say. And he will join me, and it'll be the Chase and Big Joe show, 9 to 11 weekdays starting on Tuesday. We'll take Labor Day off. Robbie and Joe going to be cool and come in here and do 9 to noon, talk Vols as they'll open their season. And then we'll play some baseball for you as well. But really looking forward to having you back because, as I mentioned when we started the show, that I interned with you. That's how I walked into this building. So Jeremy Benefield, who was the program director, assistant program director at the time, interviews me for an internship. And I was scared to death, scared of my own shadow. I was at MTSU. I didn't know right from left. Didn't know hardly anything about this business. I just knew I wanted to be in it. And that was the first time I heard the joke of, well, we're going to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
But I came up here and did the interview with Jeremy, and you guys were like, it was the first week of the Sports Revolution of you and Willie. So Willie had come over from across the street, was going to do the afternoon show with you.
Yep.
The radio station had been The Game for 3 months. At that point.
November of 2011.
November of 2011, and we just hit 12 years a few days ago as a radio station. And I walk in here, and the late Dave Hull, the incredible Hull, who had been on The Buzz, he was producing as well, was a producer. And Hull had this real deep, gargly voice, like, hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And so I like walk in, and I see him and meet him, and then Jeremy and I sat in the studio, did the interview, and he's like, okay, well, you start Monday. I'm like, okay, cool. And I walk in, and I had been a huge fan of yours from your days at Channel 2 and watching Big Joe on the Go, those segments and stuff. So I was like, we're going to work with Joe Dubin. This is going to be cool. And Willie, and I've known Willie. And I walk in, and I'm like, hey, Mr. Dubin, I'm Chase McCabe. And you just kind of smile, and you look at Hull and go, well, he is cute. And I didn't know what I was in for after that moment, but
and here you stay.
And here we are.
Well, a lot of
12 years
congratulations to you, man, for sticking around and getting it done. And stations never sound as good and as powerful as it is right now, so that's a lot of credit to you.
You taught me, and I mean others. Like I kind of like when I talk about my mentors in this business. I have several, and you're obviously one of them, and Darren and Willie and Jeremy. George, Greg Pogue. Like I've been blessed to work with some really great people and learn from some great people. And you all have taught me one thing in one way or another of this business will humble you. It will harden your skin.
Yep.
There were people that didn't believe in me that are no longer here and proved you wrong. But, you know, you kind of grow in that through those trials and tribulations. And, I mean, you were one of the first to teach me that because, you know, it took you how long to get on the air at Channel 2?
Oh, gosh, 6 years?
Yeah.
Yep. And so I tell people, you know, if you quit, it guarantees one thing, that you're not going to accomplish your goal. That's that simple. If you quit, you're not going to accomplish your goal. That's the one thing.
And in a phrase that Jeremy said to me one time that I have taken to heart was prove yourself right. You know, don't worry about proving anybody wrong. Prove yourself right.
Yeah.
And that's what we have both done. So Chase and Big Joe show is something that we had been talking about for a while, and you called me after you were announced as the color analyst for MTSU. You'll make your debut tomorrow, 5:30, 93.3 Classic Hits in Tuscaloosa as MTSU plays who, Joe?
Alabama.
Yes, that is correct. But you called me, you're like, hey, let's make this happen. Let's do this. And we had always spitballed it and talked about it, and
just got to be happy and fun where your feet are planted, man, and just have fun with that and find your calling and go be happy. It's not. Trust me, it ain't about the money.
No,
trust me, it ain't about the money. Money's nice, but my goodness, being happy and doing what you want to do and your calling is is better.
How excited are you to be with MTSU tomorrow?
I am fired up. We're leaving Chip and I and head down this afternoon about 1 o'clock and to see MTSU take on Alabama. What a great start to the season down there. A lot of unknowns for Alabama. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. And I was watching these YouTube podcasts last couple nights, and the people in Alabama, because Alabama plays Texas next week, and it's all they're talking about is Texas. That's all they're talking about. And this one podcast guy goes, oh, yeah, I forgot. We got a game this week once we beat Middle Tennessee and blah, 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 and go on that way, which is fine. Think that's great.
Sure.
But just, why not go down there and shock the world? Can you imagine that? I mean, you got to believe it first to accomplish it.
And in talking to Stock on Wednesday, I feel like they believe it. Yeah. Because there's a lot of I am one of those that I walked out of SEC Media Days going, Alabama could be interesting. Saban's got a little bit of that swagger back. You should be nervous when he has that. But it's also the first game, and who do they play next week? Texas.
Yeah.
So they're, like you just said, I think there could be a little bit of overlooking.
Absolutely it is. And even Saban was talking about Texas next week. I know the message is clear about getting the job done this weekend, but I think Nick Saban would like to go out and win 28-0, run the football 78 times, pass very little, rotate 3 or 4 different quarterbacks there just to hand the ball off, just to confuse. I think that's what he wants to do. And for Middle to disrupt that would be in this game to the fourth quarter, make Alabama do things that they don't want to do. That's how you win ball games. And go down. I know people listen like, oh, whatever, and that's fine. You could think that way, but upsets happen all the time. And now even more with the transfer portal, you got guys now, Middle might have 30 transfers on the team who've played in big game environments before. So it's like you're taking guys down who've never played in front of 90,000 people before. So it's the transfer portal's really opened that up for a lot of people. Including myself.
It has. Yeah, for sure. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Just got a tweet. Coach Walt Wells, your buddy, Eastern Kentucky University, says, back where you belong, brother. Happy and proud for you.
Yeah, talked to him this morning. They go on and take Cincinnati tomorrow and play Kentucky. We'll have him on the show next week.
We will. And look, Walt, I mean, what he went through last year with his heart attack, and now he's back on the sidelines and
I'll never forget.
Ready to go.
Sunday morning, Coach Will Kreisky at Riverdale called me and said, have you heard the news? I was like, no, what? He's like, Walt had a heart attack and it's pretty bad. I was like, what? And I started thinking, oh, my God, because his father passed away from a heart attack. And then it was like, oh, my goodness. So it's funny he comes back. His first game.
He was back 2 weeks later, right?
He was. And their first game that he was back was at 7 overtime win over Bowling. Can you imagine that? Over 7 overtimes, you beat Bowling Green State at Bowling Green, which was a fantastic game. I'm just screaming at the TV. I felt I had a heart attack watching the game. And they win that game and going to get to the playoffs next year.
I thought you went the next week. You
the
went
next
to a
week.
game. Yeah.
I went to the next week. That's right. Good memory, stalker.
Yep, sorry. I meant to, again, I have to get used to it. We just start talking, and you never know where it's going to go. But I saw this. Sean Ford, our GM, sent this to me, which was really, really cool. A paper or a article out of the Athens Banner Herald, which is, Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
And so it was the headline reads, "What caused Georgia football players to go nuts before practice on Tuesday?" So I'm like, okay, good headline. I'll bite. And start reading, and it says Georgia football players heard an announcement in their team meeting before Tuesday's practice. It had nothing to do with the game plan for Saturday's opener against UT Martin or the pregame itinerary. It was that Kyrus Jackson had made the Titans 53-man roster.
Oh, wow.
And the whole team went Kirby Smart is quoted in saying the whole team went nuts. He got a text from Jackson with the news. Kyrus was just ecstatic. Who better deserves that than a guy that went through 2, 3, 4 injuries? He was on the leadership SEC committee and represented the university on every board he can be on. He stood before the team and led, just an unbelievable leader. That was really cool. I love hearing stories like that because Kyrus Jackson, I mean, I remember him at Georgia. I mean, he's a stud, and he did battle injuries. And the fact that, he came to Titans camp, he did enough to make the initial 53, got to stay there.
True.
But he could be a return guy. He could be one of those, I always ask, like, you talk about some of the great undrafted guys of all time that, end up having awesome careers. I always think of Priest Holmes as one of them.
That's a good topic.
Why can't Kyrus Jackson be one of those guys?
Yeah, and go as well. And speaking of Walt, one of the players at Hillsborough High School, Matt Jackson, made the Titans team. And then Walt's telling me, he goes, I get a FaceTime call from him on Tuesday. And Walt's like, he's not FaceTiming me to say that he got cut. He's FaceTiming me that made the team. So, I mean, Walt was ecstatic, over the moon for this kid to get this opportunity to play in the NFL. I mean, it's good for the program, makes Eastern look good. But he was so genuine, heartfelt, happy for one of his players making a roster in the National Football League, same way as Kirby was with Kyrus Jackson. So it's a big deal. I mean, that's your dream. I mean, you come in and tell you that you've made the team. Vrabel walks and Vrabel coach want to see you. You're thinking, oh, well, I did all I could. And Vrabel's like, welcome, made the team.
Yeah.
Good job. Goodness.
Oh, what a moment. I mean, we've seen what those moments look like on Hard Knocks and things like that, but they're awesome. We've also seen Jeff Fisher, cut a guy for bringing his girlfriend in. Remember that?
Yeah. You know the rules.
We have rules.
Sorry about that.
It's a really cool story for sure. Kyrus Jackson making the Titans 53-man roster. Yeah, and I mean, like with Walt, with teams like that, I think it's so cool that the player, the first call they make, or maybe not, maybe they call their mom or whatever, but then one of the first calls they make is their college coach to say, hey, coach, I made it.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
That's absolutely.
It shows you the impact that those guys have. And, we talk about transfer portals and coaches carousels and things like that. The relationships do still exist.
I forgot that Arian Foster was undrafted.
He was. Yeah, and he had a nice career.
He did.
Nice career with Houston.
John Randall for Hall of Famer for the Vikings. He was undrafted.
Yep.
Tony Romo.
Yep.
Another one. Warren Moon.
Yeah.
Undrafted.
Warren Moon might be the best undrafted of all time.
There's a lot of good ones.
Randall's pretty good.
Jeff Saturday was on this list.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Great head coach in the NFL.
What's he doing now?
Poor guy, man. I don't know. And, of course, Kurt Warner.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, Kurt Warner or Warren Moon?
Gotta go Kurt Warner. One Super Bowl, 2 appearances. But I'm a big
3 appearances.
I'll tell you, as a fantasy football fan in the late 80s and 90s, Warren Moon was fantastic. And that run and shoot for the Oilers.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It was good.
It was so good. That's a good one. I don't know. Warren Moon, man, can he go 50-50 on that? Warren Moon and Warner? I mean, I don't want to choose between those two.
I mean, if you're going based on – I mean, I get 3 Super Bowl appearances and you get 1 ring. That the ring.
Like, let me ask you this: who do you think the best quarterback is all time?
Tom Brady.
Take away wins and losses. The best quarterback all time.
I mean, define best. Like, are
just best with mechanics, best everything, and you got to have longevity too. I mean, it's hard to put Marino down.
Hard to put him down, like not have him on the list, or hard?
I mean, not have him number one. It's just really difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as mechanics and athletic ability, throwing the football, I mean, Marino, if you go back and watch those games with him and Duper and Clayton, were just some of those passes
really
were unbelievable.
Question.
I mean, Elway was great.
Like, Elway, yeah, I mean, Brady, because of the rings and the stats. And,
he's
I mean,
look,
Brady, I think should get credit because he was a 6th-round draft pick.
Yep.
That wasn't even really that great in college and became the best of all time.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
You know, so I mean that kind of makes him, to me, that's what puts him in that category.
It does. So I don't know. I just watching those old, I guess because I grew up with Marino, watching all that stuff, but he was just amazing as a quarterback.
Absolutely. 737-1025. Real quick texture. Bobby says they should do a reboot of the Three Stooges: John Robinson, Jeff Fisher, and Jared Stillman. Except he says Gerard Steelman.
Why is Fisher on that list?
I don't know.
I know since
everybody hates on Jeff. He
deserves a statue outside Nissan Stadium.
Right.
He does.
He does. Like he and Floyd both. I mean, they built those teams.
For Titans wise, from 99 to 2010, I mean, they're some of the best teams in football. Yeah, they won Super Bowl, but still, you honor them over there for that. I mean, it was time to leave after the 2010 season.
Sure.
Adios, yippee-ki-yay.
I do believe our guest may be here. So Rondé Barber going to join us.
Barber.
Going to join us.
Hey,
Hall
when
of
he
Famer.
comes in here, let's do just fake accents.
I think they're listening to us, so they might know.
I'm like, Rondé Barber. What are you doing here today in Nashville? Rondé Barber. And you do that old, like, hey, Rondé Barber here in the studio today. That 1930s voice. You do that, and I'll do an Italian chef. Rondé
Chef
Barber.
Boyardee.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's all next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
This is Nick Frazier here to tell you about my favorite sportbook and casino, BetUS.com. Football is back, and that means it's time to lay down your bets. I only endorse one sportbook and casino, and that's BetUS.com. They're celebrating their 30th year of sports betting service with a special offer up to 30 risk-free bets. That's right, up to 30 risk-free bets. It's called Bet Protect. BetUS.com also offers a 125% sign-up bonus, a massive 200% crypto sign-up bonus, and a 250% casino bonus. The game always gets more exciting with the bet, but you can take it to a whole nother level at BetUS.com's live in-game betting. Take advantage of their 30th year offer, up to 30 risk-free bets. Get Bet Protect. Get started today by visiting BetUS.com or 1-800-MyBetUS to learn more. That's 1-800-MyBetUS. BetUS.com, sportbook and casino, where the game begins.
When you own a business, it's like another member of your family. Its success takes time. It requires money, attention, and tools to help it grow. At F&M Bank, we'll treat your business like family, building trust and responding quickly when you need us. No matter your business goals, you can reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you, tools to conveniently manage your money coming in and going out, and expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. myfmbank.com. Banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Blue Raider football lives on 93.3 Classic Hits.
Saturday, the Blue Raiders open their season in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. Our coverage begins at 5:30.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits. The Suit is in the building. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin with you here on this Friday. Very excited about our next guest, Hall of Famer Rondé Barber in studio with us. He is in town this weekend. We'll tell you why here in just a few minutes. But Rondé, good to have you. Appreciate you stopping by in studio. Hit that button right there, Jojo. There we go. Welcome. Welcome to Nashville.
Yeah, glad to be in Nashville. Sorry that my navigator.
The GPS will get you sometimes.
Oh, I'm gonna blame it on a user error in this case. I mean, if I would have known I was only 5 minutes from the airport, I could have just walked.
But here's the good news: you're not the only one this has happened to.
Oh, okay.
It's happened to a lot of people.
Unfortunately, and when they said that, I'm like, oh no, the GPS got him.
Oh, so it's your fault. You should have just said we're 5 minutes from the airport.
But we appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. I know you're in town with Superbook Sports, the Tennessee-Virginia game tomorrow at 11 at Nissan Stadium. Yeah. And afterwards at the Landshark Bar and Grill at Margaritaville on Broadway, You're going to be hanging out there.
Yeah, I'll be there with Ron, Tennessee legend. I'm a UVA legend, I think, still. It's been a long time since I was at Virginia, back when the program was very, very good. But I haven't been to a UVA game in a long time, so I'm excited to be here. The event at Margaritaville will probably be I'll be drinking a lot.
You might need to.
Wondering what happened. Not that this time of year, hope runs eternal for every program, right? You just never know. The off season is what it is. This is your first real game, and I remember my third year at Virginia. We opened up the football season at Michigan. So 105,000 people. Our stadium was 43,000 at that time in Charlottesville. But we went on the road week 1 in Michigan and almost beat them. So just saying, anything can happen.
You never know. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday. Right. I mean, you went through those games in your career in the NFL, so you're right. You never know.
Never know.
You never know what might happen.
I always love asking this about guys who won Super Bowls. Where's your ring?
Funny you should say that.
Oh, no.
I have no idea.
Oh, no.
Where my ring is. And not my fault. We took it out for an event probably a year ago, and right when I got announced into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, me and my wife were like, we should probably find the Super Bowl ring. Might need it that week. And she's like, do you know where it is? I'm like, do you know where it is? I was like, well, put it back in the closet. It's somewhere in my closet. And we have a kind of a big, kind of convoluted, junky closet where clothes, and I don't know where she put it. She doesn't know where she put it.
Well, there is a guy here, lives in Nashville. He was the punter for the Steelers in the 70s who was showing his ring to a girl at a bar, and she tried to take it.
Oh.
And that's always asked about that because he finally got it back from her. But I'm always curious because most guys have it on the mantle or they don't know where it is or whatever. But at least you know yours is in your house.
I currently don't know exactly where it is, but I know that it's still in our possession. If that's a fair assessment.
Well, I mean, that's good.
Yes.
Right, it is. Let me ask you, how much do you remember about playing a lot of in the NFL, certain moments of games? Because I asked you this. There's an iconic moment with Steve McNair playing you guys on Monday Night Football when he took like a quarterback scramble, went 80 yards on a Sunday night. I'm sorry, it was a Sunday Night Football game. Do you remember that?
I don't want to remember that.
I can see the look on his face. I think that says it all.
Yeah, I remember playing against McNair. Yeah, the one of the most intimidating quarterbacks I ever stood next to or saw play. He was an amazing football player. That he's gone, it's easy to talk about it, remember it, but he was not fun to play against. They had big running back, if you remember.
Yeah,
just as big.
That's
as
right.
They were a tough team. That was early on in their careers too. Not fun. Not fun playing
just to see
them.
this guy at 6'3", 230 coming right at you with faster than you are probably.
Well, now guys are built that way. I mean, he was an anomaly, I think, back in that day. That big, could run that fast. He played Alcorn State. Alcorn State, right? And he was that kind of athlete there. But we had never seen quarterbacks that looked like that could move like that. Now they're pretty commonplace.
Right.
But he was different. He was way ahead of his time for sure, man.
We've referenced, the kind of his process a lot because with the Titans drafting Will Levis and Malik Willis in the last 2 years of, okay, what's the proper way to go about that? And,
right.
And I had the opportunity to work with longtime GM Floyd Reese for several years, and he was always of the belief of you sit a guy and you let him cook and you let him develop. Steve did that, barely played for his first 2 years, and then they finally gave him the keys to the car. Nowadays, with first-round draft picks making the money that they make, they have to throw them in there. But from your point of view as a corner, as a DB, do you still think that there's room for a guy to sit and just learn?
I wish more would. You think about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets is probably a great thing for Zach Wilson because he showed in his first year that he couldn't handle it, right? And then tried to do it last year. Couldn't handle it. They put in Mike White at towards the end of that year, and you don't want him to give up on a guy that you put all that time in to evaluate and draft. Trey Lance is an even better example, really, right? Because he's only had about 2 or 3 games under his belt before he got hurt, and then he's replaced and then dealt to Dallas. So I think the Jordan Love path is the right path, and you understand why teams do put him in early because you have that small window. But not every quarterback comes in and is Josh Allen. And in fact, Josh Allen, his first year in Buffalo, was not very good. I did not think he was. And I know that Kristen right here, my friend, is a big Josh Allen fan. But he was. I had my questions about him, and then he turned a year. In a year, he turned into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So there's different runways for each player. But I'm kind of on your path, man. I think they should wait. It's hard, though, because of the economies of the game now. In all honesty, in order to have a successful team without having a quarterback that costs $40 million and have other players on your team that, the good players on your team take up most of your cap, the quarterback's got to be young. Because as soon as you pay your quarterback, the dynamic changes.
Well, it happened here with Chris Chandler and McNair in 96 and 97. Chris Chandler didn't like McNair because he's taking his job, didn't help him out, didn't mentor him, and then ended up – it caused a big division on that football team because if it gets out of hand, it gets out of hand big time.
Right. Well, you don't blame Chris Chandler at all, do you? He's looking for he's looking for career longevity. I mean, because when this goes away, it goes away. It's over with. But there's that in every franchise, and not only from the players but from the front office. I mean, there's from my experience, not everybody's going to be on the same page. But if you have draft capital and a quarterback, it behooves you at some point to get them onto the football field. So that's why some of the decisions about quarterbacks nowadays seem so curious. You draft a guy in the first round, you think he should play, and when they don't, or then they end up somewhere else, you're kind of wondering what the evaluation was, because obviously whoever drafted him thought he was good enough to play. But then the coach and then the staff and whatever else makes a different decision, and then it just doesn't seem congruent.
All right, so I got to ask you, Chase and I were talking about this in the 9 o'clock hour, the Super Bowl, all right, against the Raiders. Were you guys really calling out their plays? is this an urban legend? Because I want this to be true so bad.
We called out one play.
Oh, is that it?
It was the West Coast system has a play, sluggo seam, right? It's what everybody runs. You run a kind of a hitch and go on the outside, and the quarterback's really just trying to get the free safety. In this case, it was Dexter Jackson for us, trying to get the free safety to move toward where he pumped the ball over down the sideline. But if you understand what the concept, the seam guy, the tight end or the receiver, who's ever on the other side of the ball, is really where the quarterback wants to go. And it's mostly situational. You kind of know when it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's formation. It's just being prepared, and we were very prepared for that game because to be honest with you, the way they ran their offense was designed perfectly for the way we ran our defense. And so we knew it was coming. Yeah. It's not quite urban legend, but there was one play.
I love it.
Absolutely knew what they were doing.
Well,
it could have been some other ones because we had 5 interceptions. I mean, we kind of figured them out pretty quickly.
Great. Do you where do you personally put that defense when you're talking? And obviously, different eras, different rules. You know, it's hard to answer a question like that. But when you think about, I mean, how many Hall of Famers are on that defense, including yourself?
4,
I mean,
4 of them now.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching that game and watching that season and just how fun it was to watch. But where do you rank that defense, when you're thinking of all-time greats?
Right. It would have been really easy to bet on us back then because we were so consistent, man. We were – if you're asking me, we're top 1, 2, or 3, and you can throw the Steelers out there. There were the Bears defense of that one year, but none of them, even the Ravens with their Super Bowl year, none of them had the longevity that we had.
Right.
We were that same defense, and mostly because we had the same players for 10 years. We were top 10 defense. You can fact check me. I may be a couple years off, but we were top 10 defense for at least a decade or better parts of a decade, and with the same players. You know, Brooks, Lynch, Sapp, myself, Dexter Jackson, who I just mentioned. We had some other key elements there, Brian Kelly, that stayed together for a long time, and so it made it easy for us to be who we were. And we were simple. We played fast. We were very physical unit because we chose to be. It's like Monty Kiffin, our defensive coordinator. That was the only option we had. You had to be physical. You had to be fast. You had to be smart to play in it, and we played in it for a long time. So if you ask me, there's not many that can claim to have the level of greatness for as long as we did.
Your DB coach, too.
Yeah, we had a pretty good DB coach.
Mike Tomlin.
He's turned into a pretty decent head coach.
When was the first time you heard the standard is the standard? Did he ever say that?
That was very standard is the standard. It's true. I mean, and if you buy into it, it's true. I mean, Mike Tomlin, my Mike Tomlin story is I was a free agent in 2001 after my rookie contract ran out. Mike T came in as the DB coach while I was a free agent, and Mike Tomlin basically convinced me to stay in Tampa. He's like, what you're doing at nickel, nobody else is doing that. I can't wait to coach you, da-da-da. Well, as it turns out, nobody wanted me. So I ended up having to go back to Tampa. And that next year, I led the league in interceptions. I had 10 interceptions. I'd only had 2 in any other year.
Nice.
And then I had 10. And then the following year after me, my compatriot, Brian Kelly, the other corner on the other side, had 8 and led the league in interceptions. So he had 2 corners in back-to-back years that led the NFL in interceptions. Wow. And then obviously we won a Super Bowl that second year. And then 2 years later, he's the defensive coordinator of Minnesota. And a year after that, starts his 17-year tenure in Pittsburgh. So
amazing.
He's an amazing coach, man. He's an amazing man, but amazing coach as well.
He's Rondé Barber, the Hall of Famer, hanging out with us. You cool to hang through a break? Mm-hmm. Come back, talk a little bit more about this Hall of Fame experience.
As long as I don't have to go to Murfreesboro to get back through the break.
Yeah, no.
My navigator.
We got you here now. Right by.
Did you really go to Murfreesboro?
We went a long
Close.
way away.
He is Rondé Barber, the Hall of Famer, hanging out with us. Chase, Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Sports and Social in Green Hills is bringing you the ultimate fan experience this football season with a 33-foot media wall, 22 TVs, mouth-watering game day eats, and cold beer. Sports and Social opening September 7th at the mall at Green Hills.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchen, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Don't miss a minute of football action while getting up close and personal to the future stars of the PGA Tour. Join Penn Entertainment on site at the Simmons Bank Open, promoting Penn Play and their sports online betting platform. Stop by their tent in the Arctic Tailgate Village during the tournament to learn more and have a chance to win some prizes and giveaways. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline, 1-800-899-9789.
It's the latest social networking thingy.
We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game. You can follow me at Chase on Game. Also on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville and at The Chase McCabe. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin with you here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hall of Famer Rondé Barber in studio with us. You can catch him tomorrow at Margaritaville, the Landshark Bar and Grill on the 2nd floor with Superbook Sports. He'll be there after the Tennessee-Virginia game, so go by and say hi. He's been nice enough to hang out with us. Now, I told you that, we work with a couple of wide receivers, and, they're a little chirpy, they're a little chatty sometimes. Chris Sanders, former Titans receiver, texted me and wanted me to tell you he beat you on a 9 route one time. I guess it was one of the games here.
If that happened, it definitely wasn't my fault. Safety should have been there, or Monty called the wrong defense. Or I used to joke that I've never been beaten in my life, and to be honest with you, I think I just purposely forget that I did.
So Derek Mason has told me he's never dropped a pass in his life.
Exactly.
It's like the same
bad
thing.
ball. Quarterback threw a bad ball.
So you had to go up against him a time or two.
Absolutely, at least 3 times I went against D-May. He's a good player back then.
Yeah,
he could, and he played the game kind of like I played the game. He's kind of scrappy. Obviously, he was a very talented dude, but finding ways to get things done when probably football purists say he's not the right size, and I love playing against him.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. Has that set in yet? That is now forever connected to your name?
Yes, it is. I had a party to prove it too. Yeah, I was a finalist for 6 years, semifinalist for 6 years in a row. I was a finalist for the last 3 years, so it felt inevitable. Not gonna lie, and I was only eligible for 6 years, so all those years it felt like the momentum was moving for me. But this past year, or even I should say the year before, because I thought I was going to get in last year, my presenter Ira Kaufman down in Tampa, it's like nobody has anything cross to say about you in the meetings. Like, it's going to happen. It's just, when is it going to happen? When is the queue get short enough where you become top of the priority? And it was this year. So I would say that it sunk in because I've been ready for it for a long time. And knowing that I have, 3 other guys from my defense, including my coach, so 4 other people that I played with in the Hall of Fame, it feels like a deserved destination for me for considering what I did in my career. So, yes, it's sunk in.
Now,
but I'm still partying, Chase.
Well, as you should. Now, whenever you talk to your brother Tiki or call him, do you make sure to inform him that you're a Hall of Famer and he's not?
I don't have to do that anymore. But yes, I let him know. But Tiki's got a resume that should be Hall of Fame considered. So maybe one day he'll be in that.
Could you be a coach?
No. I've been asked to be a coach many, many times. And besides the inordinate time commitment that it takes to be a coach, I don't think I have the patience to be a coach. I was a perfectionist when I played because I had to be. Talented, yes, but like overly talented. I wasn't overly big. I definitely got slower as I got along my career. But by being a perfectionist and taking time to perfect my craft, I was able to play for 16 years and not miss a game and not be replaced, which is the reason why I did miss a game, because I always felt like if I let somebody else do my job,
sure,
a good chance they might end up doing my job. So it was part of what motivated me, and I don't see guys like that anymore. It's a different landscape.
They asked Mike Singletary about doing that, and he said, I being a head coach was fun. He goes, but I expect the same level of commitment that I had, and I'm not getting that, and that frustrated him. And you could see, throughout history, these Hall of Famers who become head coaches, Mike Munchak was here. Same thing. Mm-hmm. You're on a different level as far as commitment and everything else, and you're not getting that. It would drive you crazy.
It would drive me absolutely nuts. And I understand. The money in the game has changed the game. If you're not feeling perfect, you don't play. That's just the way it is in the NFL nowadays. And for me, if you don't play, you're getting replaced. Right. And ultimately, the tolerate you till I can replace you mentality still persists in the NFL. It's just harder to get rid of guys because they make so much money nowadays. But guaranteed contracts, somewhat make that more difficult. But look, the game is it's supposed to be different because it's the biggest game in the world. Maybe outside of soccer, but it definitely in the United States, because it's so consumable. It is the most consumable product on the planet.
Yes, it is.
In this country, and I love it. But the guys are definitely different. I felt like that back. The guys that came before me, they were different. Now those guys that are playing now, they look at us like,
right.
Oh, those guys were different. It's just the game. The game's not the same. And I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. It's just not the same.
Who was the moment where you got in the NFL, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here and I'm lined up against Michael Irvin or somebody just like you saw on TV?
Yeah. My welcome to the NFL moment was my second year, and it was a guy who was having in his first year, which was Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And Randy's first game of his professional career was against us at home, Minnesota. And he had like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I wasn't playing in that game, but I'm sitting there watching what I knew was a really good player out of Marshall. out of Marshall, come to the NFL and just take it over. So I saw like the burgeoning Hall of Fame career that he had. We played him twice a year for 3 years, and having to deal with that was like, okay, if we can't stop this dude, then we're not winning any football games. So.
That's one of those guys that you look and go, that there's a good player and then there's special.
Yes, 100%. And he was on a team with Robert Smith as a running back. Chris Carter was the other receiver. Jake Reed, if you guys remember him, he was the third receiver, I guess second receiver, and they were impossible to deal with. They ended up having Dante Culpepper as quarterback, but Randall Cunningham was their quarterback that first year in '98, and you're just like, holy cow, man! Like, this is impossible to stop these guys.
It was.
But we did. We had some battles against them. But that team. And they were good for a lot of years, like 3 or 4 years. I think they went to the NFC Championship game, lost to the Giants once, and I don't think they ever made a Super Bowl. But that was a team that you had to be able to play. So there was lots of those type of guys that I ran across, but he's the one that probably frightened me the most, to be honest with you.
All right, we got to ask you this. Chase and I talked this last hour. I think the best quarterback of all time, let's put the records out of the way, is Dan Marino. Just because the way he threw the ball, his athleticism, his accuracy.
Yeah.
I think it was. Chase says Tom Brady. There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah.
You faced all these guys.
Yeah.
Who do you consider the greatest quarterback in the NFL?
I'm biased, and I'll say it was – and I played against them all. And I played against Marino. We practiced against the Dolphins my first 2 years in Tampa. And I remember – Dan Marino, however old he was at that time, 38 years old, I don't even know. But he was old, and I was like, this old quarterback. Dude, he's slinging balls by your head, and you're just like, how you just like, can I play in this league? Those were that moments. He was very good. I think it was Peyton Manning, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Peyton, the way that he played the game above the neck, I've never seen. Tom was very, very good. Obviously, I saw him last 3 years in Tampa. His control of the offense and himself, more importantly, there's a reason why he won 7 championships.
Right.
But the best I played against was Peyton. And I played against him 3 different times, once in Indy, and once in Indy when he was in Tampa. He came to Tampa and beat us on that Monday night game, which was brutal. And that's probably why I'm biased in this regard. I also went to school with his wife, but I'm biased because the way that he beat us, nobody else beat us that way. Because it was will, determination. Obviously, he knew what the heck he was doing. He knew what you were doing before you knew it. He goes and I'll further that story by the year he went to Denver. Shiano was our head coach, and we had this plan for not tipping off anything that we were going to do against Peyton because he just figures you out. So we were this base static defense, and he's calling out stuff that we're getting ready to stem into, kind of move into, before we even do it. And I'm like, How does he know this? How does he do this? And he was that good. But again, it's no wrong answer. I agree with you.
There's a good chance you might see him tomorrow at the game.
I'll see him tonight.
Probably, yeah.
I'll see him tonight.
Virginia is a 28-point dog.
Is that it?
Tennessee, according to the Superbook Sportsbook.
Right.
How do you go against that offense that Josh Heupel runs?
Right. That air raid offense with a whole gang of seniors on their roster.
And a quarterback with a cannon.
Right.
For an arm.
I think they're only. What's his name? Squirrel?
Squirrel White?
Yeah, he's the only underclassman playing in this game. So let's start there. The Virginia's defense has a lot of return. They're also a veteran defense. They have some seniors that are back. They actually have some pretty good down linemen. I think 70% of their sack totals are back from this year. But let's be honest. Virginia was a 3-win team last year. They obviously went through a tremendous tragedy with the program. With those 3 guys were murdered on that bus, but they've rallied around themselves. And if you're a Virginia fan, that's what you're hoping this season turns into. The rallying, that one togetherness mantra that they've been pumping all season and preseason, shows itself on the football field. But the reality is Tennessee's a really good football team, and Virginia's got a transfer quarterback. They got a running back that I think is going to be pretty good, transferred from Clemson. They got a receiver that transferred from Northwestern. Could it be interesting? Yeah, but the avalanche of Tennessee is going to come down on them, I think, and that's coming from a guy who bleeds blue and orange.
Yeah, for sure. Well, have fun.
Yeah,
I know you will. Nashville, it's not hard to do. No. You can have fun here in Nashville. Superbook Sports, you're in town with them. And tomorrow, Margaritaville, the Landshark Bar and Grill, the lounge. After the game, people can come by and meet you, and going to be awesome. Thanks so much for doing this. This was great.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys had me on, and I apologize for being late. On behalf of my navigator.
It's all good.
Appreciate you. Thank you. It's
Hall
an
of
honor.
Famer Rondé Barber in studio with us. We'll give you some picks coming up next with Lee Sterling here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and the score!
On your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
At Mercedes-Benz of Music City, a healthy and productive culture takes a day-to-day discipline. Here's Sam Cavett, General Manager, with a few thoughts.
Mercedes-Benz has its standard, and we have Dream Motor Group standards. They're definitely on the same level, but I feel like we challenge ourselves at least as much as Mercedes-Benz challenges us. It's a genuine motivation to take care of customers, and we see it in the customer reviews.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. Yum, yum, have some fun. Share with the ones you love. Don't you want to roll?
At O'Charlie's, we thought you'd enjoy a little country rock and rolls. The warm, buttery, delicious kind. Served free with every meal. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. Charlie's, born in Nashville, and it shows.
It's Raymond in Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is going big.
That's right, Austin. Sports bettors can win a new truck, get the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus, and even get up to 30 risk-free bets.
Touchdown. BetUS also has a 150% casino sign-up bonus.
Blackjack, now you're talking, Austin. They also have live dealers and live betting on sports, including racetrack.
Get started today at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Hey, do you need to listen on the go? Download the Game Nashville app from your app store today, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. It's that simple. What an age we live in.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Alongside Big Joe Dubin. Appreciate Rondé Barber for joining us. What a cool interview that was. Every Friday, usually at 10:30, he's been nice enough to push back a little bit. Lee Sterling is going to join us, Paramount Sports. Lee, thanks for pushing back. I hope you understand a Hall of Famer was in with us and was really cool conversation. So thanks so much for understanding.
So you mean my high school Hall of Fame doesn't quite equate with that?
There's a little bit of a difference. A little bit of a difference.
I understand. So
but
glad to help you out.
Excited to have you back with us. Lee
Yep.
Sterling, Paramount Sports, going to give us some picks every week. So let's dive right into it with some games that you have. We'll start with the one here. Tennessee and Virginia, neutral site, Nissan Stadium, but it's basically a home game for Tennessee. Tennessee laying 28.
So Tennessee, I think, is good, and they're in a much better place than where they were a couple years ago when they were 7-6. I just think that Hendon Hooker, I mean, if he doesn't get hurt last year, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Also, Jalen Hyatt, I thought he was the best receiver, college football. Joe Milton is fine, but he's not at that level here. So I'm looking at this team, Virginia, and the new clock rules, and you got to take everything into advantage here and study all these things. They are not going to stop the clock when there's a first down now, so except it's within the last 2 minutes of the second and the fourth quarter. So we're going to see about 8 or 9 less plays per game. We're going to see scoring down probably close to 3 points per game. Virginia, what do? They just want to move the clock. They're going to take their time. They go into a huddle. They don't stand on the line of scrimmage here. They run the football. They're not pretty decent defensive line. They're going to just try to limit the big plays here. I think 28 is too much here. First start here for Joe Milton of the new season. I think they win this game, something like 41 to 17. I think Virginia is the right side here.
Okay, interesting. Kentucky taking on Ball State. Ball State getting 26.
So Kentucky, I think, is a team that's under the radar. This is a team probably top 5 coaching staffs. I think they do a great job here. Liam Cohen returns as offensive coordinator after spending 1 year with the Rams. He'll come up with some new different features to the offense. I love Devin Leary. I mean, he's the only guy they're replacing on the offense here, and Devin Leary just distributes the ball. He lets the guys, puts the ball in places where these guys can make plays. Ray Davis comes over from Vandy, another nice addition here. And what's Ball State's situation? Well, they lost their best player maybe in the last decade, Kid Carson Strong. He ends up going to UCLA. He's going to be UCLA's feature back here. They have a new quarterback. Defensive secondary isn't very good here. Sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it. Kentucky big here, 48-7.
The game of the weekend, and one that I'm really excited about, and it could be one of the games of the year, LSU, Florida State in Orlando. LSU is favored by 2.5.
Yeah, if it's anything close to the game last year, we're going to have a lot of fun. Wasn't decided until an extra point was blocked right at the last second. So this is going to be a fun game. You got Jordan Travis for FSU, dual threat quarterback. Jaden Daniels, the same for LSU, but I just think that Jaden Daniels is a cut above. When he gets on a roll, he can hit 7, 8, 9 in a row, put the ball right on the money, also maybe a little bit better runner. How lucky did Florida State get last year? They got to face 5 backup quarterbacks, and Brian Kelly, that was his first game last year. I thought he made a couple tactical mistakes that might have cost his team 7 to 10 points during that game. And Florida State, they were the hunter last year. They were coming off a 5-7 year. No one was looking at them. Now they're being hunted here. I like the over best chase, over 56 total points. I think we're going to see a high-scoring game. I also like LSU, 34-30.
Okay, I like that. Real quick, Alabama hosting Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee getting 39 points in this one, playing in Tuscaloosa.
So I know the kid Vitello that's going to start for Middle Tennessee State. So I go to a bunch of high school games once I finish shows on Friday night. Nice kid. He's just not ready for this. This is going to be his first start here. He would probably be fifth string in Alabama's quarterback depth. So Alabama here, romper room special here, 60-7.
All right, Lee, I got about 30 seconds. Yep. Your free play is UNC, South Carolina, North Carolina, minus 2.5.
They want to get it for free. Just call 800-400-9741. Give them the North Carolina, South Carolina game. Should be a great game for free. Check out the new website, 30 Years in Business, ParamountSports.com. You can get everything, footballs from a month to a season package, or even UFC this week, and have our biggest selection of the year. It's all up and available, ParamountSports.com.
Cannot wait to continue these conversations with you each week at 10:30. Thanks so much for doing this, Lee.
You're welcome. See you, Chase.
See ya. Lee Sterling joins us every Friday at 10:30. Hey, that's going to do it for us when we're back on Tuesday.
That will do it.
Chase and Big Joe show officially debuts.
Proud to be back, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for being back. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. That's next.